All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of What's What BR. Today we have back with us after a while, but back with us again. We have Karen Alford from Visit Baton Rouge. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I heard a rumor there's a cold front coming in over the weekend. Kind of excited about it. So,
I am too. That just encourages us to get out and do some more exploring, and we just need a whole lot more of that.
yeah, no, I say I'm excited about it, but I've got to go to a wedding in Texas. I'm not excited about that, but it seems like it would be, good. In fact, we got a game coming up this weekend. So we've got
Ew.
people, this is kind of your thing, right? Visiting back, like this is the culmination, right? A big one of everything.
Exactly. And after
So,
last year, this is very welcoming, especially to see people coming in to have a full stadium or as full as it's going to be. So people tailgating, this is a very exciting time, very busy, and I don't see it slowing down.
no, I think people are full speed ahead, which is what I like to see. So tell me, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, a lot of people, most I would say of our viewers, listeners, however you want to do it, are in the greater Baton Rouge area, 5-10 parish area. But what is it, let's just get some history there. What is exactly that you do? What is Visit Baton Rouge Reader's Digest version for anybody who's going, what do you mean Visit Baton Rouge? We're here.
Exactly. No, great question, because a lot of people don't know that we are here. And our main purpose is to drive tourism to the area. So to build a bigger economic impact for our region, our parish and our region through inviting friends, family, visitors, meetings, conventions, you name it, to come here. And of course, when they come here, they have a great time, they spend money, and that helps our economy out and it helps us as residents out. So our goal is to promote Baton Rouge on a statewide, regional, national, international level, so that people are aware that we're here. So when they're looking to take a vacation or a trip or a business adventure, then they'll consider Baton Rouge.
Awesome. And one thing, I know I'm going to hit you with this out of left field. We didn't even talk about it before, but I remembered as you were saying it. And for anybody, if anything, to hook them in and maybe to listen a little bit longer. But one of the things when we had you guys on before, we had Paul, was with us, but Paul was talking about how for local, if you're a business owner, a manager of a business, if you're trying to do something, or you've got something like you're bringing in 20 people, for an on-site visit, or you're having, your maybe timely, 2022 planning session, those kind of things. That's, you guys can step in and kind of help with some of that. Like, hey, what can we do? I think
Exactly.
I was shocked with that last time. I had no idea. I know we bring people in and we constantly, but then it's always like, okay, where are we going to go entertain these people, or what are we going to do? But you guys can actually help with that, right?
Absolutely. We have 4 welcome centers around the city. So those are open, and those are always great to bring, your friends, your family to, your visitors, whomever you might have in, whether that's a business associate, or you invited some friends in to come spend the weekend with you. You're looking for inspiration, you're looking for ideas. We have 4 different welcome centers. So we have one at the Baton Rouge Airport. So if somebody's flying in, there's always that option. We have one at our office, which is on 3rd Street downtown, corner of Laurel and 3rd Street. We have one at the state capitol, the new state capitol. And then we have one over at the Burden Welcome Center. So those are always great locations if you're looking for brochures or information, or just wanting to stop and get ideas. We have travel hosts at those locations that can provide information. Of course, people can always call our office as well. That is 383-1825. And they can talk to our travel counselors here too. I mean, locals can enjoy and take advantage of this benefit as well. Because at the end of the day, there's so much here that we just don't know about, and we live here, right? So whether you're inviting people to come in, whether you're looking for inspiration for yourself, whether you're looking for ideas for your kids, you just need somewhere to go. You can take advantage of visiting our website, calling our office, or visiting a welcome center and looking for ideas. So we do that. We also work with businesses and groups that are looking for ideas as well. If you need some inspiration to entertain, we can help with that too. So
A little bit of all of it. And I think that's,
yeah,
you hit it on the head where I was, kind of secretly driving us to, is that there's so much to do here in Baton Rouge that people don't realize it. I think it's kind of, you don't see the forest through the trees, where you skip over a lot of the things that you didn't realize that are here. I talked to somebody the other day who's I didn't grow up here, but been here, professionally for at least, I think she said like 10 years. And I was like, so what did you, have you been to, any of the plantations, or have you done, I was like, no, like, is that close by? And it was like, yeah, like, if and I was like, have you been out to, the old armory or the barracks out by, the stadium? Like, no, what are you talking about? Like, it was just amazing to think. It was like, okay, well, you've been here a while, but like, you've done the typical, you've gone out to eat, you've hit, the movies, you've done, the basic stuff that everybody kind of does, but you hadn't found what really makes Baton Rouge at the end of the day. And so I think that's what people, like I said, even if you are local here, there's a whole lot that you don't even know about that's going on. And especially now, like, we're finally coming out of this.
exactly.
It's happening, right?
It is definitely happening.
Whether people
Another
like
idea.
it or not.
Exactly. Another idea, and a lot of, people think this is more visitor driven and not local driven, but I tend to disagree, because I too learn stuff about this city all the time that I had no idea existed, right? And we're always growing and changing, and so we're learning there too. But we have tours. We have walking tours and we have driving tours that people can go and take advantage of. So we have Red Stick Adventure Tours. That is a company that offers tours, and then Enjoy Baton Rouge Tours. And that is more of a walking tour. They do offer food tours. They offer all kinds of tours that you can join in, and you don't have to be a visitor to do that. It's just fun, to take a Saturday or a Sunday, or if you have time off during the week, to just book one of those and take advantage and learn a little bit about the place you live.
Yeah. Now, tell me, so from you guys, your side, you guys felt the crash, right? I think the first time we talked, it was like, that was, it was just probably phone call after phone call, this event is canceled, this event is canceled, this is canceled. I'm over it. I've been over it for a while. Everybody, I'm openly over it. At this point, I tell people, but I can go back and watch. We started doing this show, I think it was like in March, like right after, because it literally was just, I was calling people saying, what are you doing? What's the next step? Or how are you going to grow? People needed a longer format to get a message out. So we said, hey, let's just talk to people and see what they're saying. 170 something shows later, I'm still here. I can't find anybody to take my place, but I'm still doing it. We're still having fun. But what's interesting with it is you can literally, there's points where you can go back and watch some of the older stuff where you hear people talk about, like, this is crazy, I can't believe this is going on, to I can't believe we're here, to like where you fast forward, where people are now talking past tense. And I'm sure you guys can see from, whether, I'm not debating on, the whole, is it over, is it not, but just from a general sense of people are wanting to go do things. We're seeing, you guys have got it. You saw the crowd. You've got to see, are you seeing hey, people are now booking, people are calling in and saying, is your convention center open, or could we consider, are you guys seeing that, as well?
We are.
Other than just the people tailgating.
Exactly. When it crashed hard, right? And I think the hospitality industry was one of the hardest hit. And that hurts all the way around, not just from being able to travel, but people lost jobs, businesses closed. And that's when we started to understand, what does tourism mean? Yes, a healthy business has a great mix of locals and visitors that do patronize their business. Locals were still able to get out. They were eventually able to get out and go back and and help businesses, but we lost that tourism sector for quite a while. And
Hmm.
back in July, it was kind of the United States welcome back to travel month because vaccinations were out. They were being administered, and that was the big key for travel, was to be able to do it safely. And that's what we wanted to promote. That's what everybody wanted to see because we didn't want to go back to where we were, right? So we got there. We got to July, and yes, it was. I mean, our numbers were amazing in July. And unfortunately, we saw a fourth surge come shortly after, and the South saw that fourth surge sooner than the rest of the country did. But I do have to say that I don't know if it's because we were prepared. I don't know if it's just because we had a warning, but it seemed like we bounced out of that extremely quickly. Like people realized what they needed to do, but then they also realized how do they continue in a safe way. And I feel like we knew it was coming. We prepared, we planned, we promoted safe practices, but yet we could still travel and we could still get around. So I think that was much more minimal than what we had seen in 2020. But I think we learned how to do that based on what we experienced in 2020. We also know where we don't want to go back to. So, we'll make those adjustments as needed to make sure that we're not. So I'm happy to say that this fall is looking really good. We did have some events cancel, but it's not like the whole rest of the year got canceled, if that makes any sense. So October with Halloween, fall events, those are very strong. There's a lot to do, and we're learning about new ones every single day. With Thanksgiving around the corner, believe it or not, the year is coming to a close, and we have a lot of events coming on board for Thanksgiving. And then Christmas is going to be a busy Christmas this year here with events and things to do and places to go. And I feel like it's a whole different scenario than what we were seeing a year ago at this time.
No, we can see it. We put just as you guys do, community calendar events. You can watch, based on the number of events and the number of pages as that thing grows. And it's like, I don't know, I don't know if some of it, I think there's, some science maybe behind it, but I think a lot of people are just going, you know what, hey, this is where we are. And, I've given up, my Christmas party for 2 years now, or I've given this up, we're going to do this safely. We're going to do it the right way. But I heard the other day that there were places starting to fill up. Like, I remember it was like, this was the time of year, like if you were going to do a Christmas party, you had to start booking. Right. Last year, that wasn't the case, but places are filling up now, and saying, hey, you better find some place beforehand or you're stuck with everybody at your house. So.
Exactly. And I think we know what that was like last year for those that have tried to entertain at our house. And I think this year we're ready. We're ready to have that more of a normal situation, whatever normal looks like right now. And I think normal is going to continue to change. But we know that we can keep moving forward with plans. Yeah. And we can adjust if we need to cut back a little bit. I think we've learned how to be more flexible, and that's key.
Mm-hmm. I think that's exactly. I think everybody's learned how to be flexible. I think people that have underlying health and those things, they've kind of learned that maybe we don't do that, but other people are running out. I think we can see it. We've got people tailgating now. We've got crowds showing up. We've got games going on. Like I feel like we're kind of getting back to that, and then with this potential cold snap, I think people, that weather drops and people get a little frisky, and they get excited and they start getting back out. And I know there's all this fall orange stuff starting to show up at my house. It's kind of decorative is going all over the place. So it's interesting to say the least, that seeing kind of how we're getting there, but
it's exciting.
So it's good. You guys are seeing.
We are definitely seeing more activity, and that's just great all the way around. I think another thing we learned about travel and just getting out and having the ability to do that is how it plays into you mentally. Like, I think that's another thing we realized, that we don't just travel because it's fun. We don't just get out and go on a vacation because it's fun, but we do it because we need it to. And that, I think, is another thing that we've learned about travel during this time, is that, yeah, it's definitely fun, but we as humans need it to kind of recharge, re-energize ourselves. So
how is it from y'all side? What is it you mentioned? You guys are trying to, wrong word, but recruit and get people, into Baton Rouge. Is that, somebody told me the other day, and this is not probably your wheelhouse, but I heard it the other day, that like a substantial amount of New Orleans, tourism is Baton Rouge. People, is that the same? That's like we get a lot of our tourists, coming from, New Orleans and kind of the local area, to where it's those day trips, that people are taking, or
it is definitely.
What is it you guys kind of see?
So one of the things that we've been watching data very closely since March 2020, and we've seen a lot of trends happen. But one of the things that we do know, when cases do spike, or when there's talk of a variant, or whatever that looks like, or when there's no talk and we're doing great, when there's a little more concern, we see that statewide audience definitely do more traveling and look within the state to get out and go places. So yeah, that's more of your day trips. But it's also, it's a great way to also go and check your state out, right? Because most times you don't necessarily always book a trip within your state. You may look to go to another city or another state that's close by or drivable. But when things do show that it's a little more safe to get out and about, that regional audience definitely picks up, and we've seen a good bit of that. So New Orleans is definitely an audience for us. Mobile has been an audience for us. Florida, Texas, definitely regional. But we're seeing it outside of that 6-hour drive market. And that's what we had always kind of seen prior to COVID, was we're definitely a drive city. But now we're getting a little bit further out there. We're seeing Atlanta pop on the map. So that's exciting. So things are changing in different ways, but it's just really kind of fun to see new opportunities that might be there that we didn't have before.
I found it interesting how many people would tell me, I'd bump into people over the last year and a half, and they would be like, hey, it's really fun. You ought to just go get a hotel room, here in Baton Rouge. You just like Uber down to the casino and Uber and go eat, don't take your own car. I'm like, I've done that for years. Like my wife and I, we've always, it used to be a thing. Like we used to go at least like once a quarter, we just kind of find a place, and it was nice because the kids were close by. If something happened, we didn't have to, make this whole ordeal. And we've done it before where we forgot something. You just run back to the house and get it. But there's something different when you can do that whole experience. Even though it's here in Baton Rouge, it still feels like you made like a real trip someplace else, and so we found that that's something. And people have been telling me like, oh, you ought to try it. And I'm like, we've been doing it. You need to do it. It's awesome.
Exactly. I think we had a different mindset of what a vacation was pre-pandemic, and you had to get in the car, you had to get on an airplane, and you had to that travel was a big part of the whole vacation experience, right? And I think what we learned is when you take that travel out of the picture and you just really look for more of the experience side of what you want, I think that's when people started to look within their cities and do those kind of trips. We call them staycations. That's been a buzzword for quite some time now. But there's so many places within the city that are outside of your comfort zone or outside of your zone, right? And, for somebody who doesn't work downtown or doesn't go downtown often, you could make that a staycation area and go to the market on Saturday morning. You can check out, we have about 10 museums in the downtown area. You can check those out. There are a number of restaurants, right? And then Mid-City is just right down the road. Or if you wanted to go check out the south end of the parish, if you happen to live closer to Mid-City or downtown, you could do that too and check out Perkins Row or do a shopping kind of staycation and check out some of the shops that you wouldn't necessarily go to. Or go to a movie, go out to eat. So make it a little fun.
That's what I tell them. That's what I've told you. I'm like, just go get a room somewhere and then just Uber around, or that was the last one that I did. I just went downtown and just stayed, just checked in, and we just got out and walked around. We parked the car, didn't touch it again until Sunday evening, and just walked around and did a whole bunch. And you're still in town, but it's a different experience, when you're not having to hustle and bustle and run and move all that kind of stuff, and just kind of go sit out on the levee and watch the river for a little bit. That's people miss that, and I think, they don't get a chance to. I've talked to people that have been here that have never been out to the levee, and it's like, really, you just go give it a shot. So hopefully somebody will try it. So.
One of the top requests for visitors from the United States, but more so internationally, is people want that river experience, that Mississippi River. We take it for granted here, but it is pretty unique that you have a place you can go and you can go check that river out. Like, you can get up close and personal with that river and just stand on the levee and watch the sunrise or watch the sunset, and just kind of check it out, because it's pretty unique to the United States, and it's pretty massive when you think about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think I'd mentioned I'd mentioned it to somebody in one of these 170 something shows that, I know some people that live some friends in Chicago, and I've got some friends in New York, and they were talking about, they were stuck just like in an apartment. Like, it was just, that concrete jungle, it was like, maybe they found a park that was a little dog park that they could walk around, but we've got so much here that,
we do. Then you go to like Zachary and Central, and you've got hiking trails that you can go on that you probably don't know about or you haven't been on, right? So that's just a fun day trip in itself, is to grab your friends, grab your kids, whatever that looks like for you.
And what I told somebody the other day, it's cheap here. It's extreme. It's a whole lot cheaper, than in Orlando or Las Vegas or Chicago. You can get in and get a lot done. So it's like call a couple of friends, have them fly in, or something for the weekend, and take them to go see some things that are kind of crazy. So
exactly. Okay. I think between the two of us, we have really good calendars. So there's never a reason to get bored or to say there's not enough going on, right? So they can check their calendar out. They can check our calendar out. Yeah, they're going to see a lot of the same events, but kind of figure that out when you have some open time or when you just need a break, kind of to make sure you take care of yourself.
Well, awesome. Well, I appreciate you stopping in and spending some time with us and kind of, checking in what's going on. I know you mentioned there's a whole bunch of stuff going on with holidays and trying to make sure that, everybody's got all their plans there. And, we're full swing into holiday, planning at this point. So if you hadn't gotten started, you're behind the 8 ball at this point. So, but I tell everybody, you've got more important things to do than talk to me all day. So I appreciate you taking some time to fill us in and kind of what's going on. It'd be great to have you come back and tell us, kind of how it went and, what is it? Now we're getting the calls, and then, hey, next after the calls come the events, and the events come the next. So I'd be curious to see kind of how that trend keeps moving, because you guys, I know, have a pulse on it better than anybody. Everybody else is just making up news. So,
well, we're looking forward to the spring. We think 3 months ahead all the time. So yeah, we'll have to get together and talk about Mardi Gras and festivals and see what's on the horizon then.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you stopping in, and we'll set it up. We'll have you come back and tell us what to plan on for spring.
So. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Bye.